just like the beginning here, the positive, you're just gonna go put it in. Oh, too light, can't see. So increase it. And then you just basically put it in and paint. See, go underneath there. It will enter as a negative to the back here. See, right? Because this is already there. This one we haven't done yet. But I make it a little darker so you can see. Okay, so back here from the chicken here, I'm gonna put more leaves. Or we can actually put this grass one more time so that it's nice and dark. You see, there's already some grass in front, so I'm just gonna go behind it. And then another one here, we can just go like this. Oh, go behind. See, so this is just the positive now, just going in, positive, and you can cross it by the way, but you got to let it dry slightly before you do that. So I'm gonna jump back to this side here, all right? So you just go more grass, more grass. Here's longer grass. Go behind. Yeah. So the positive now entering, right? Yeah, so this part here is pretty straightforward. You're just gonna go in there and start putting all these grass in at the back so that, you know, by the time you come back and do some more negative, you will fill up really nicely. And don't feel bad about this negative thing. I tell you, we have lots of artists that has been painting for years and they're still having hard time with this stuff. And the concept is really not that, it's really not that complicated. You know, you just have to think when you paint something directly on a piece of paper, like what we got here, the beginning of it, these are just called positive painting. It's a direct painting because this is where you just don't even worry about what goes in yet. You're just going to go and put colors in, you know, and fill it out like that. So this is all positive painting, direct. You just put directly onto it. And, you know, on this side, for example, more and more. So that's direct. And then after all these, then you end up with all these little white spot in between. Those are the background of the grass, right? So of course the background of these, you know, grassy area are more grass. So therefore we're going to choose again something you know, like grass color, green, blue, green, yellowy green, any kind of green that you like, and a small area, a negative space, small area. Then you just go and cover with one solid color. It's good, you know, like that, because it's so small, it's really hard to mix. But if you come to a bigger area like this one, so I'll go same color, bluey green, and then I might just switch to a yellowy green. See? And then you just make sure that it's paint in between those blades of grass. And that's the beginning of your negative painting. So you see, it's easy, straightforward. It's just a background of those grass. And these are the color we chose is green because it's gonna be green, right? After we divide them out. So this part here should be very, very straightforward. Everybody kind of know this part. It's only when you're starting to divide, and that's where you get confused there. So more. Okay, so that's how you do it. You just go behind everything, behind the rooster tail and behind the grass here, and then just do a little mixed color, slightly darker than the original leaf here, the positive leaf here. So, or the grass, kind of like that, fill it in, fill it in. And then you will get to a point where you just have the blades of grass sitting in front of this whole mess of green, different shades of green color. And that's the background. And then before we divide it out, doing more negative, we just let it dry. You cannot do it when it's still wet. So I'm just gonna play with this here so that you get an idea here, like that. There you go. See? So now you can fill it up, and it just look whole bunch of mixtures of different colors in between the grass. You know, so you take a bit of time to go and, you know, and do it. Just make sure that you do it slightly darker then we can see the front, because there's no point making it the same color as the grass in front, because then you won't see it. Okay. And you don't have to be too careful with this, because these are just multitude of blades of grass sitting in there. So, okay, so that, and we're going to leave that for a second. And I don't know if you need me to explain this paint and pull business again on the neck here. So that part here, you just have to get a color, dark color. And because there's lots of black and grays and everything, we can start with that. And then you always make sure you have a water brush, and it's nice and clean, and it's, you know, and it's for water only. So then you just go like this, paint, 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 put a couple of 3 little stroke, then you take your wet brush and pull out and pull. And then when you pull it, your brush picks up some gray color, and then you can continue to put it here and there. You know, it all depends on how dark you want it. Some area can be a little darker. You go paint, pull, paint, and pull, you know, and then you just keep going. Some are short, some are long, and then you just paint, pull, make sure your brush is always clean when you pull. And sometimes after pulling a few times, you need to wash it out and then just do some more. You know, so it depends on how much dark feather kind of coming through the white one here. So that's it. Okay. So you can work on that, and then we'll come back again. If you have any question, we can go over that. Where should I put this? Okay, so I'm gonna do a smaller one. So you guys have the bird of paradise drawn up? If not, that's okay. I mean, it's really quite easy to draw. You know, if you don't want to trace it, but if you can make a copy big enough, you can choose your size, right? So I'm just gonna quickly draw one, and using a darker pencil here, because I you know, when it's on here, you can't see it when I use a light pencil. I don't normally draw them like dark color, because it's not good. All right, so we're going to start with the stems first, this one. Okay, so here's the stems. I'll go maybe about here. Whoops. Okay, what did I draw? Okay, so here's the stems. Down. And then from here, the big giant calyx going in like this, all the way back to here. Make a little fold here, just like that. And then you can see that the bird of paradise, each one has 3 petals, as you can see in the top here. See, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then the bloom itself is in one of those small one here. So I'm going to hold it up here to show you. So when you look at the bird of paradise, this one here, you got 1, 2, 3 petal. That's one individual flower. And then this little thing sticking out from here, you know, they call it the tongue. The tongue is something like this. If it opens up a little bit, you can see there's a tongue. There you go. And that's a purple color. So you can see that there's 1, 2, 3 petal with the tongue. And this one here, 1, 2, and probably one's hiding somewhere, right? So, you know, so that you can see, obviously this one is blooming quite big already. The tongue is sticking out, the entire tongue is out. All right, so that's all you need to you know, worry about. And if you want to, when you know how they bloom, then you know how to draw it. So I'm just gonna put it close here so that you can see. And this one, so now the flower comes up from here. 1, right? 2, and then the 3rd petal here, and then here's the tongue. Oh, I can see that this one here belongs to this one. So 1, 2, 3. See that little thing sticking out from back here? That belongs to this one, because the tongue is only by itself. So here's the 3rd petal for this fellow. And then here's the tongue, straight up, a needle-like kind of thing. And then a little bit of a down. And this one, you probably can't see the bottom, so don't worry about that. All right, so you just keep adding. I mean, you know, if it's a good, healthy bird of paradise, they will have quite a few of these sticking out like this. So a lot of the time, you don't even need to worry about following this if you don't want to. All you have to do is just do your own thing. One, see, there's one that's open up like this, and this one have a tongue. You have a base, and then this spiky thing, needle on the in the bottom. And if when you have the picture, you can see clearly as to how they do that. And then here's the two little thing like that. And then another petal. And then there. See? So that's your bird of paradise. Just like that. Right? And of course, you want to make it look sexy. You can make it look longer and sharper. You know, it's always nice to make it longer and prettier. And maybe this one, make it longer. If you need to draw it freehand. So if you trace it, that'll be good, you know. Okay, just like that. So this giant calyx, there's a two pieces of calyx. Calyx is the green part, almost like leaf, but not quite a leaf. It's to protect the young flowers before they bloom. So this one here is green, and this one is green. And you have the picture as well that I sent you, so you can see it. So to start that, it's really quite simple. And we need yellow, obviously, right? We do yellow. Okay. Okay, so what paper here. Water brush, make sure you get a water brush and a nice brush for yellow, clean yellow. You know, I'm trying to see the screen, make sure you can see it. It's bright, it's really bright today. Okay, so I'm gonna do one on the back here, a big one petal so that you can actually see how it's done. So this is the one petal here, and then the next petal here with the needle coming down and the flower. This is the there, that's better, right? You can see it better. And then of course the calyx is underneath here. So using the cadmium yellow, it's good enough. You know, we can start with cadmium yellow. And all you need to do is put water in the middle. We need to highlight the petal. So you put water in the middle. You can see here. Yeah, okay. Water in the middle. And then just like the feather, you put the color onto one side like that and let it bleed into the middle. Always point your brush against the line, the pencil line, like pointing it this way. So, you know, this side here, I cannot paint this way because I'm not painting on the inside. So you turn it around, and then point on the inside of the line. And then the brush, the bottom of the brush will touch the water and then just melt into it like that. Okay. So you can put more yellow if you want. So this will be a first coat. Now, sometimes when you do that, it's happening here. My water in the middle is disappearing, so it's not soft enough. So you need to go and take your wet brush, and then just gonna blend in a little bit so that it looks like this. Look like a banana with a highlight in the middle. Okay. So you do that to all of them. And of course, if this one is still wet, you don't really want to do this one, but if you're in a hurry, you can do it carefully. So long as you wet the middle again, wet middle, and pointer on the inside of the pencil line, go that way, back and forth until you get the color you want. Turn it this way and put the yellow on the other side. Carefully goes along this line here, not to bleed into the other one. So you're good. There you go. Okay, So you just have to worry about doing that for now. I'll just give you a few seconds. I'll go find and see if I find my other painting. I probably got rid of it. It's okay. We won't worry about it. So here's my back to the one that I drew on the small one. Really, it's just not to worry too much. You just put water each petal, water in the middle. Pick up some nice, healthy cadmium yellow, paint on the inside. Pointed the inside lines, turn it over. Again, point on the inside of the line. So then you're gonna have a beautiful highlight like this. See, the whole thing took just a few seconds to do. It's just like that. So of course, if you have line that dividing like this one here, this petal is folding. So you need to do it separately. Okay, so here we go. Do it separately. You put water in the middle. And then you take your yellow and put it in on the inside. And there's a little flip here. So we're gonna go underneath behind the flip and go like this. And then done. So now look and see there's a flip over here. We can do it later, okay? It's really quite fast actually, Bird of Paradise. And of course, it's really easy to do if you get all the right papers and right paint. I hope you guys all have the cadmium yellow.
Yes, yes.
It's nice and bright, see, just like that. Okay, and of course we're going to go back and enhance it even more later. I'm just going to see if I can bring up my album, my flower over here. And then of course, I'm just gonna bring my iPad close to here so you can see. So you see, this is the calyx that I was telling you about, the green part. And then these are all the, and then the yellow in first, but mine, I put a little orange or reddish color in it later. And you can see these are done the same way, but instead of yellow, we do green. So wet in the middle first, and then you put the green. But I'm going to show you a couple more of these petals, and then you're good. Okay. Yeah, no, the whole thing actually takes very little time. See, like this one more petal here, wet in the middle. Go pick up some lovely yellow and paint onto one side. Turn around the other side. Voila. And then only, if you need to go back and say, oh, the first one, it's a little too pale, just to make sure that it's dry before you do the second coat. So I'm wetting it again, and then I'm putting a little more stronger cadmium yellow on it so that you can do a second coat. Then it looks lovely, nice and yellow. Okay.
Willie, I can't tell which flower is which on that.
Oh, so
the one I traced, I just can't figure it out.
Okay, so you weren't here when we were explaining this. So how are you doing, Michael? You good? Okay, so if you can see my handout here, right? Okay, so the bird of paradise, when you look at the whole thing, you're gonna see a big giant green banana here. That's the calyx that protects the flower before they bloom, right? And then when they start blooming, the banana split open in the middle, and then the flower pushes out from the inside like this. And each of these big flower, this banana carries several flowers inside. And each one has 3 petals and a tongue. So this is a little example I put on the side here to show you. So this is the petal, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then this is a tongue. And the tongue, if you look at it straight on, if you split it, it looks like this. But you're looking at sideways, so you only see half of it right there. See, like that. Right? So if you look at this big flower here, so 3 petals. I say here 1 flower with a tongue. So it's 1, 2, 3 with a tongue in here, not quite opened yet. And then this one is opened up a little bit more. As you can see, the tongue sticks out. The whole thing sticks out. So the 3 petal will be 1, 2, and this one hiding back here. You open so big, it cross over to this side. So it's 1, 2, 3 with a tongue. Yeah, can you see it now? Right? So then you go to this.
I still can't figure out which are petals and which are tongues and what's missing.
The tongue is the one that looks like a penis here. You can't miss that. Right? Can you see on the screen? So look at this individual flower here, Michael. Look at this. See this thing here? That's the tongue. You see that little round on the bottom, and then there's a pointy needle on the top. So this is the purple one. These are yellow, 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 and then that will be purple. Right? Don't think this is a whole flower. This is just one of the individual flower from the inside of the green thing here. So 1, 2, 3, and the tongue. 1, 2, 3, and the tongue. 1, 2, 3, and the tongue. This tongue is.
I'm sorry, going too fast for me, Willie. I can't see which ones you're pointing at.
Okay, here we go. Can you see this big flower here? Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so just count. There's 3 points. There's 1, 2, and 3. See?
Which was 1?
It doesn't matter. You can 1, 2, 3. This is a 3. This is 1 flower here.
Yes.
Yeah, so like this. If you take this out and break it and cut it, it looks like this. Okay? So you see how there's 3 petals? 1, 2, 3. That's an individual little flower here. So you can see 1, 2, 3 petals and the tongue.
So is the tongue the second from the left?
Yeah, the tongue is split out from one of these guys, right? Hello?
Yes. I'm here. Is the tongue the second from the left or the one on the side?
Okay, just hang on, Robert. Yeah. Okay, all right. Talk to you later. All right, bye. Okay, so you can see there's 3. Just think of 3 petals, and the tongue is hiding in one of them. So then when it opens up, it will come out. So if I show you this one here, you can see, right? There's 1 petal, 2 petal, and a little one over here. And then you see the tongue is starting to stick out from there, that little thing. Okay, this is before they open. See how?
So the tongue is at the side?
It's on the inside. Yeah, it's in one of these petals, usually on the 3rd one, and it sticks out from the inside, right? And after they come out open, when they open it up, it just stands on its own like this.
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's like, you know, the petal is folded like this, right? I'll just do it like this so that you can see it. Okay. I'll even cut it so that you resemble the. See, this is the last petal. There are one here and then two over this side. So there's three of these. So then when they're all together inside each other and then hiding in the big one. And then as they open up, there's one coming out, two coming out, and then the tongue then sticks out from here, like my scissor here. It just come right in between those petals, go like this.
Okay, thank you.
Right? Does it make sense?
I think so.
Yeah, so then if you look at the picture, it's really not hard to find them because when you look at each one, you see that there's one flower. There's only two flower blooming right now. So there's 1, 2, 3 petal for this one with the tongue sticking out slightly on this side. And then this one here opened up more. So then you got 1, 2, 3 petal with the tongue already showing. And on this guy here, they are not quite open yet. See, that's why they're close together. But if you look carefully, 1, 2, 3, the petal behind, and the tongue is on the inside here. It's easy to spot the tongue because it has these, you know, what we call the needle, right? Okay, if you look at sideways, the tongue looks like this. And then needle right there. And then from here, it goes down and just look like two round kind of on the bottom, and then the neck again. I mean, you can't miss it because the tongue, see, like this one, the tongue looks different. They have these two things that hangs there, and the long spikes here, and then the needle on the top. Okay. Well, you see eventually, and if you need to really see one, you know, some Devonian garden, they have the flowers there too. And most of the time when you buy them, of course, in the flower shop, they sell you before they bloom. So you're just buying one of these green thing like this, the green parts. The green part like that, or like that. And all these flowers are hiding inside this pot here. Then you put in the water, hopefully it's in a warm place, and then the pods will split open, and then all these petals will then come out. I find it's interesting when I cut one and trying to put it in the water in the room to let it bloom, they don't have the energy, the same energy that if it's on the actual plant. So sometimes there's only 1 and 2 flower coming out, and the rest is still trapped into these calyx here, right? And of course, sometimes I had to help it. I actually cut these calyx open and let the rest of the flower pop out from there. Okay. Okay. Hello?
Oh, hi, is this Willie?
Yeah.
Hi, Willie. This is Sharon Pelshing. I'm signed up for the painting class tomorrow evening.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just wondered if I could swing by tomorrow to pick up the art supplies.
Yeah, tomorrow's good.
Okay, good. Is there a time tomorrow that works better for you?
Oh, it doesn't matter. You can come around noon if you want.
Sure, I'll do that. And you're just on Calgary Trail, is
Yes.
that right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. I will
Okay.
swing by around noon then.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Bye, Sharon.
Bye-bye.
Okay, sorry about that. So Jack, did you get that part?
Yep.
Does it make sense?
Oh yeah, long time ago.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's good. And then of course you just keep going and do all your petals. And of course I'm going to show you before going to touch on the folds here and the tongue here. I'm going to show you the big giant banana here, the green part. For some reason they call this the banana, but it is actually the seed, the buds. And then this is the calyx. Calyx is the hard part that protects the flower. So, you know, just like roses, you know, roses have this beautiful calyx with a little bit of, you know, feathery like thing. And then when they split open, then the flower comes out. So for this one, it's done exactly the same way, but with green, okay? So most of these calyx are just green. So you can use your sap green, you can mix it and your favorite green, whatever green you like. Then the same thing, you put water in the middle. Water in the middle. Then you take that green and you point it on the inside of the calyx and then just go down all the way like this. You can push it so that your brush is touching the water because you want it to bleed into it like this. So then on the other side, same thing. You just, oops, make it nice and pointy here. And then you just put your green down and push your brush down. And you see, with a couple of strokes, you actually have created the calyx, just like that. And of course, it's all had to do with the intensity. You know, you do it first, you let it dry, and watercolors like that, you need to go back again if you need it to be a little bit stronger. Okay, so the same thing with this this one here. This is also a green part, and like I said, we normally wait for it to dry before we paint it, but you know, you can just do it like that. Green, we put water in the middle, and I'll pick up green again, and then you carefully go paint the inside again, inside the line, pointing the inside. One, and then come back here, point on the inside. Two, and you can see the beautiful highlight in the middle. See? Makes sense now? Yeah? Okay, so they're all kind of repeating. It's all the same. You just have to keep going back to make it darker and all that kind of stuff. So now we can go back to this, the third petal on the first flower. Okay, when I said we're referring to these big flowers here that you trace or you draw this first one, right? I just can't see here. This is the first flower that we're going to work on. And then within this calyx, there's more flowers. So we're going to do the first bloom. The first bloom, we already painted the two petal, 1, 2 here, and then we still have this one to paint. So again, wet in the middle slightly. And then you take your yellow, and then you paint the, okay, paint the side here, let it bleed into the middle. 1, turn it around if you have to, and then here's the other one. So now we painted the 3 petals of this bloom. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And now, of course, this one have a flip. It's so small that we're not going to worry too much about it. But sometimes what we need to do is make it slightly different. So you have permanent rows. We're going to add a little bit of permanent rows to it so that you can actually see the slight difference there. Okay, so this is the flip side of the second bloom. 1. Well, stay with yellow. If you don't want to do the pink, that's fine. So then this one here is the other side of the bloom. So there's 1 here, right? And then the third one is hiding behind here. See? Okay, so like I said, you know, before, if you think that your petal is not quite strong enough, you can always go back one more time, wet, and then increase your yellow or your yellowish orange, and then you put it one more time. So then the yellow will look a lot richer, right? Just nice and rich. Okay, so yeah, you can do it to all of them. You know, make sure it's dry. So then you just go and put second coat of yellow just to make it a little more stronger. Okay, this one too. See? So we're almost done the flower, right? And then we can talk about darkening and stuff like that later. But basically, that's what it is. And then, of course, if you're anxious to see what the inside is, you might need a smaller brush just so that we can go in between. Okay, where's my small brush? So now we can do the tongue, and the tongue is purple. So if you don't have purple, we talk about how to mix color. I hope so. It's your permanent rose. Okay, I'll put it up here so you can see. This is my permanent rose here. Oh, it's kind of dirty. So permanent rose is a pink color, and this is ultramarine blue here. And if you mix the two together, you're getting mauve, violet, all kinds of purple. So you can mix it until you see the color that you like. Okay, so that's your purple. So permanent rose and ultramarine blue. Now we're gonna go and paint the tongue, and the tongue is purple. So you just wet a little bit in the middle again, and then you put the purple in and let it bleed into the middle so that you get a beautiful highlight in the middle. If you need to blend it to make sure that it's run nicely, and that's it. Okay, water in the middle, and then this one is very simple, but this one have two parts, so it's the same thing. But you know what, if it's too skinny, all you have to do is, let me show you here. Just draw the outline of the tongue out. 1, 2 lines. Two lines with purple, like this. And then you take a little wet brush and go into the middle and just smear it a little bit. There you go. Okay, just smear it and it is there. And then the bottom here, the same thing, wet. And put purple on both sides. We need a highlight there, right? There we go. And then let it dry a little bit. The same thing with the side here, the tongue. Wet in the middle. Now, if you stick to the technique, wet in the middle, if you repeat to yourself, then you're good. Wet the middle and paint on the outside. Then voila, you got this tongue here. And then of course the needle is a little darker. So we're gonna put straight ultramarine blue just to give the needle nice and sharp. So that's basically your pale looking bird of paradise. So whether you're going to darken it and stuff like that, that comes later, once you put the first coat in. So when I said darken, meaning if I want this calyx to be a little darker on this one here, so it's dry now, wet in the middle, and now I'm going to go and get some lovely darker green. And wet in the middle, and dark green goes down over the light green. Not to cover the entire light green, and it just enhance it much better like this. Look at, the highlight is still there. It's nicely shiny, and now it's a lot darker than the first coat. Okay, then you do the same thing with the other one, if you want it darker. Wet in the middle, wet. And load up your brush with green because this second calyx is huge. So you just put it down and let it bleed into the water in the middle. Turn it around. One more time on this side, green, bleeding into the middle water. And if you do it this way, you need to blend, because the water is there and my brush is going, this bottom part of the brush is facing the water. That's why we don't paint it on the other side. You always paint the inside lines of the petal or anything, inside line. So then you put it in like this, and you push down, the brush on the bottom come into contact with the water, and it just blend in so nicely like that. So it's not just two lines, right? So now you can see that this green calyx is a lot darker now. Okay, so I think this yellowy part here is a little too pale, so I'm gonna add a little bit of permanent rose to my yellow to create an orangey yellow, like an orangey yellow, to make sure that this is the inside. So therefore it's darker. So here's the orange going in. Now you can see the separation now, right? Here's a light petal. And then here's the orange inside. It's the same thing here. You can choose side and go, okay, the inside, I'm going to make it darker. So I'm going to put orange. Oh, we forgot the water. So make sure you put a little bit of water there just to save the highlight. So orange color goes in. And you can see the highlight, and then the flip is separating. Okay. So the same thing with the rest. If I say, oh, I like that. I like those orangey colors, so I might go and put this one. So this is the third time that we glaze over this giant petal here now. Third time. So this time I'm putting really orangey, kind of a yellowy, and make it nice and rich. See? So orangey yellow. One more time. Go over this thing here. Over that petal. Same thing. You go over. And now the flower looks a little bit more, solid now, right? Now I can see this one needs it too. So wet. This is just a very basic of watercolor, right, Colleen? It's just that you need to work with two brushes, the water brush and the color brush. And so you can, after the water again, then you can use your color brush and then just put that color in and let it bleed into the petal. So now the flower went from very pale to much, darker, and which is better, right? It's darker, it's better. And then of course, anything that you want to enhance, yeah, go ahead. And you see how I've just put straight orange onto this one, just so that we can see it better. And then this little petal is too yellow still, pale yellow. So I'm gonna put more water. And orangey yellow goes in, 1 and 2. Now we can see better. Okay, any questions so far with this? It shouldn't be a difficult one, right? So if you're still confused with a drawing as to who is who, don't worry about it. You just look for the one with the needle. You can mark it so that you know that that's tongue, so that will be purple. And if you accidentally paint it yellow, it's okay. You can just gonna put purple over it, and it will be different color. So one big flower have little blooms inside. Each bloom has 3 petals. Put a notes down somewhere. 3 petals and the tongue. 3 petals and the tongue. That's it. Very straightforward. And if you want to do smaller one to practice, like what I did here, that's exactly how it's done. So then, of course, Bird of Paradise is nice if you were to group them together. This paper is kind of small, but I'm going to just put another flower here. So here's the Calyx, the first one big giant one here, right? And the side here comes banana, number 1, all the way, cut across here, cut across, and the giant Calyx, just keep going and cutting through here and joined up to here. See, so now you have another one sitting behind, open it up. So then for the flower, you go first bloom, 1 petal, and 2 petal, 3 petals, squeeze one right in there, 3, and then you can put your tongue in the middle, needle, and down, there's your tongue. So you got 1, 2, 3, and a tongue. And then of course, the same thing again onto next. So I'm just doing overlapping. If you want to do overlapping, that's what you're adding more flowers to it. Okay, make sense, Jack? Okay. So we just go over the petal again so that you can actually understand. So let's say this is the giant banana back here, and there's another flower that's already bloomed from here. So 1, 2, 3, and here's the needle. And coming down with a little, okay. I mean, this is what we call the tongue. It's actually the pistil, though. So the same thing again. You just wet the petal in the middle, nice and generously with water, and then you just take your yellow and put it on. Very quickly, it would just fills out the whole entire petal real quick. But the only thing is you need to turn it around, point it on the other side. So then we will have a beautiful little highlight in the middle. That's, yeah. Okay. So the same thing again, wet. And paint. See? And then there's more petal behind here, paint. And this time I might make a little bit orangey color so you can see the difference. Okay. Water and paint. And paint. So now it's hiding underneath here. So we're just gonna leave it like that. And it sticks out on the other end. Like so. Anything that sticks out, it works the same way. You just put water in the middle. And paint. Okay, sounds good. So then you need the tongue here, it's already the same thing again, water. And you take a purple. Purple, melt into the water. The needles are darker purple, and then the rest of the purple coming in. Then you have a lovely highlight in the middle. Like that. So do it one more time. Wet. And you can always Google bird of paradise. There's a beautiful picture. And if you can see what to look for, these 3 petal business, you won't get lost in it. You can actually see them right in the flower. There. See how simple that is? So we're not going to worry about the leaves yet. You're just going to do the all these. And then I'm going to show you when this is, I think it's almost dry, that you can glaze certain colors over it. For example, these Calyx, sometimes on the edge there's a little red. So what you do is just on dry, you just paint that little piece there red. And if you need to blend it into the green, that's okay. You can blend it. And the other color will, oh, I got yellow in here. Yeah, that's okay. See, with a little bit of yellow. And if you want some of the yellow goes in there, you do it the same way. Just make sure it's dry, you wet, and then you put colors on it. You put a little bit of yellow if you want. See, yellow over the green, and then look at now, it's just more warmer color with the green. Yeah, you can glaze any kind of color. Usually on green, you glaze it with the yellow, and then it gives you a little bit of warm green color here and there. And then for the rest of the flower, it's basically you can make it slightly darker by adding permanent rose to your yellow. And then on the tip, see, I can make it a little bit. So use the paint and pull. You paint first, and then you just pull in the rest of it like that, right? Paint and pull. So the tips here is a little bit more reddish, orangey red, orangey yellow, however you want to call it. And now you can see how rich that looks. It just get richer and richer. So this one here, orange in. So cadmium yellow together with your permanent rose will give you beautiful oranges there. So now I'm gonna pull it in. See, now the flowers really look very delicious now. You know, it just had all these lovely shades of orange and yellows and all that, like that. See how I darken this, the inside part? It just makes it look so much better, and you can see the flip here, right? There's a flip there. It's like a cup, or we call it a tackle. Okay? So you can continue to go and add until you're happy with it. See, there's your bird of paradise. How are you doing, Francis?
Good, Willie. I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm hanging in there.
Okay, anybody have questions? Sila, is it Sila or Celis?
Celia?
Celia. Oh, I can't even see. Oh yes, Lia. My eyes are terrible. I see it as the Ceila.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing okay. I'm just watching what you're doing and I'm messing around here.
Okay, well that's good. You know, you just have to remember. If you can't remember, just write it down. You know, it's really it's not brain surgery here. You know, all the petals are done the same like this. You just put water in the middle and then you paint both sides because you want the highlight in the middle. You want it lighter color. Yeah, so then it shows that this reflects some light and you also give it shape as well, right?
And it gives it.
Yeah, and you see how, you know, if I hold it up, you can see the highlights, beautiful light color in the middle, and that's what we want. If you paint the whole thing solid yellow, then it look flat. Okay?
Yeah.
So with watercolor, if you're not familiar with watercolor, and I'm sure you are now with my classes at the Swessa, you need to glaze over and over. Sometimes some serious artists, they can go up to 10 glaze, like 10 times. Wait for it to dry, and then you glaze it and you glaze it until it looks absolutely stunning and realistic. And for me, 3 or 4 times is good enough. You know. And if you're a brave person and you use a perfect color, now the reason why sometimes not just a professional doing a multiple layer, they probably use the best color there is. But there are some people who use more inferior kind of colors like student grades. And then you may have to put 5 or 6 coat before you can actually see the color because the color, the pigment, it's not as strong, right? So that's what cheap paint is. It's all about. I mean, they don't have as much pigment as the professional, professional paints. But that's okay. You just have to be patient. You know, you put layers and layers and layer. And so in the long run, you end up using more color from the student grades, more colors. And then you have to replace it. So it's always best to buy the better quality of student grades or the artist color. You know, they might cost a little bit more, but they last forever and ever.
Yeah.
So any question, Colleen? And we have, is it D, who is D? Donna? I forgot your name already.
Darlene.
Darlene. Okay. Doreen or Darlene?
Darlene.
Darling. Oh, okay, like
Well,
darling.
I was doing some of the orange.
Yeah, that's
so
good. So you do
It needs more and more layers.
That's right. Yeah, that's it. You know, usually watercolor, you cannot get it the first coat. It just doesn't work that way with watercolor. So you got to go back, let it dry. The most important part in between, you got to let it dry, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy enough. I mean, if you're on a sheet of paper, you want to practice, just do, you know, these long shape like a chili pepper or something. And then, you know, I talk about chili pepper. Chili pepper is the same thing. You just draw it out and put water in the middle and then put the red color on both sides. My gosh, Jack, it looks like you haven't left that room.
I actually have, but
Oh. Yeah. You probably have lots of stuff. Is that your study room or your studio room?
no, this is just my library.
Oh, yeah.
I have a different place for painting
Oh, okay.
downstairs.
Oh. Yeah, that's good. How are you doing there, Michael? Okay, let's see what else here. Okay, what about you, Susan? Good?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm having a hard time because I have a wrist injury, so it's really hard to control
Oh, yeah?
my paint strokes. So yeah, but it'll come.
Did you have a surgery there?
No, I didn't have surgery.
Oh, yeah. I know, when you have injury, sometimes it's hard to heal and get back to normal. I'm thinking of Tiger Woods,
Oh,
Well, I'm having a hard time just holding a brush.
Oh, yeah?
So it's difficult.
Well, so can you imagine you have hard time holding a brush because of this injury?
Yeah.
And I can see him with all those pins and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's not going to be able to play as well,
No.
It will take a while, right?
oh, a long time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I saw the news last night. They have a rod going from the knee down to the ankle. There's one metal rod in there. And then the ankle itself was fractured. And the tibia and fibula, is also slight fracture. And then plus other injury. I'm gonna go, it's so ridiculous when you're one person driving and you can cause this kind of harm to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he had such horrible injuries before. He was off for a long time.
I know.
With his
well.
back problems.
Yeah, except that my friend, when they watched the news, oh, it's him again. Oh my God, they really milked this. And they talk forever and ever about him. I'm going, oh yeah. Well, because when you're famous, even if you make a little fart, people are gonna talk about it. So, but if you're nobody like me, you can fall and break your neck and nobody talk about you.
We'll talk about you, really. We will.
I'm never a golf person. I just don't watch golf. Well, I don't watch sport in general. I mean, it's just like I think I can use my time better than just sitting there and watch. And I have a lot of students, their husband, they retired, and then that's all they did. Just sit in front of TV and watch 4 to 8 hours sometimes of sports.
Terrible.
That's why they die sooner than the women. The women are active out there gardening and stuff like that. And just recently, I had one student, the husband retired, and she called me, said, do you have anything at your shop that Bob can go and do something with, And I said, well, not really. He said, you don't have to pay him. I just want him to get out of the house. And of course, I go, well, maybe he doesn't want to get out of the house. He worked all these years and he's just like, this is his dream life now, with beer and watching sports all day. And needless to say, I recently talked to his wife, Corolla, and she said, you don't even know him now. He gained so much weight.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a danger of retirement for some anyway.
Couch potato.
Yeah. I mean, most people, when you retire, you go, oh my gosh, I'm going to go and take a lesson. I'm going to do golf and I'm going to be active outside, right? Doing things that you like. Go traveling and go hiking or something. But to sit in front of the TV, I guess it's a dream thing, a dream life for some.
No.
endless supplies of potato chips and
Yeah.
so I'm going to continue just for a little while. Next one here, it's not really well drawn, but it's okay. Wet. I'm just going to keep repeating this so that you can hear me in your sleep tonight. Wet the middle, and then just put yellow on both sides. Turn the paper and go down. First coat. Done. Then you jump around and do the other ones, and water in the middle. There we go. And I heard that one of my students emailed me yesterday about trying to sign on to the vaccine thing. And of course, the website crashed, and she has been waiting for hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's getting nowhere. And I don't know today if she's still back onto there and trying to sign up. Any of you qualify for that yet?
No.
No. What did I say? 72 and up?
75.
I spent all day yesterday.
I'm 29.
Okay. So Michael, did you sign on to it? Oh yeah, he's turned his mic. Well, he has to turn it on to speak.
Eventually, I got on. It kept kicking me out
Oh,
repeatedly, or not letting me in.
yeah. Well,
It
that's
was
what
just-
happened. I heard that's what happened. You know, it's just like you can't even, and then or they tell you that the site is closed, and so are you
Today
gonna-
was better. I tried it today and they said, you'll wait 18 minutes. You're behind 3,600 people.
Okay.
So it's a little bit better. It tells you how long you're gonna wait.
Wow.
Well, I hope they got it figured out before it's my turn. That's all I can say.
I know. It just seems like it's really not well organized. You know.
No.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine what would be the better way, because we don't have enough room for people to line up outside in this weather, right? So that's why the appointment thing comes in. You know, if it's in the summer, they will probably just say, you know, give us about 5 different sites, and then anybody 65 to 70 today or whatever. Or even
Well, next week, the pharmacies are going to be involved.
Yeah, it'll be better when there's more
yes.
pharmacies involved.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Just like the testing, you know, when, you know, before I have to go to the south side somewhere to get tested. And then after that, you know, I just went to my pharmacist, and then they do the COVID test there. Well, we have to get it done. That's a problem, you know, whether you believe it or not. I mean, I know people who won't do it. And, you know, you just need that one person is positive, and then to start spreading around. But I heard that, sorry.
With that new variant, it's, you know, more infectious.
Right. And there's also the good news of it with this, the new vaccine, actually for asymptomatic people to get that vaccine, and then you won't be able to spread it, which is good, right?
I mean, the Johnson one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because my aunt was so happy they're starting to vaccinate too in Malaysia. And yeah, so, and then the worst thing here, what happened in Malaysia, I'm from Borneo, and it's very primitive in some area of the province, the northern Borneo. What I heard from my friends is that the infection rate is rampant amongst the native that lives in the jungle, right?
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah, because they have no mask, no protection whatsoever, and they live in a big, giant, what they call longhouses. And
Yeah.
what it is like a condo, like a townhouse condo, but on stilts. And sometimes you can have about 30 households joined together, and they share the same veranda. So when if there's any kind of infectious disease going on, it's really hard to control. But they're the marginalized people, the country don't really care that much about them. So there's a group of Chinese so-called Christians or missionaries. They would then bring food to them and stuff like that.
How are they going to get to them for vaccination?
Well, this is it. I mean, they would have to organize some incredible something anyway, like a fridge. You have to carry the fridge or something cold, and which they don't have over there. And then if you want them to come out the jungle to get vaccinated, they don't usually come out, right? They don't drive. Very few of them, maybe the young one, that kind of live in the city long enough that they might be able to do that. But they're usually very poor. And so, it's really sad, it just happens all over the world. They are the original inhabitants on the island. And when the Brits came and the Portuguese, French, you name it, everybody went in there. The Dutch just sort of split them all up and take the land and so drive them further into the interior of Borneo. Borneo is the third largest island in the world. So you can disappear in there quite easily. So in the past, there was a lot of European activists, they were helping the native and they actually disappear in there and they can never find them again.
Oh. I think there's lots of beautiful animals there.
Yes, in Borneo, even as we speak, they're still discovering animals and plants and stuff like that that's never been seen by human before. But the problem is that they were clear cutting. They were destroying the rainforests like Brazil, So a lot of this animal, they only found them when they destroyed the forest and found them dead or killed them. Because if you see an animal that you're not familiar with, most likely you're going to kill it.
Willie?
Yep.
Have you ever read this book? This is about Borneo and about two different people who were doing activist work there. One from the US and one from, I forget where, in Europe.
Yeah, Germans are pretty active in that.
Yeah, that's it. He was a German. Bruno Manser and Michael Palmieri.
Yeah.
They went and lived in Borneo and
yeah, I heard a lot of stories about like that, and sometimes I feel so proud of these people who actually will sacrifice their life even, to protect the natives there.
Yeah, that's what Manser was doing, and he was sabotaging the lumber industry and stuff.
Yeah.
Too.
Oh yeah.
They could never find him.
Yeah, they always do roadblock and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a losing battle for the natives, though. I mean, they don't have, because the logging company will sometimes hire a group of army, with guns and everything. So yeah, you know what? They I think there's a Geneva Convention. They actually agreed not to cut down a certain amount of forest in Borneo. And they signed it but they just go back and laugh and they continue to cut, you know? And so what are you going to do? The rest of the world can't really go there and stop them from doing it. And if you coming in to Malaysia and as a journalist or whatever, the Malaysian government is very suspicious of that, right? Yeah, I sometimes feel bad that I'm in Canada, living in paradise, and you know, and it's really disheartening to see what's happening in Malaysia. You know, the natural resources are just depleting, and everything is getting destroyed. And guess what? The native doesn't get any benefits from it. I mean, all the money went to federal government in Kuala Lumpur, you know, to build the highest tower and to build their palaces. And anyway, that's how the world works these days. So, and it's, what time is it? It's almost 11:15. I'm gonna get you guys to play for a few more minutes, and I want to give you homework to do with the sunset one. So that was on the easy one, the fun one. Okay.
Really? Are you going to show the leaf in the background or?
Yeah, the leaf is actually very simple. So I'm gonna wait till these finish, and then a little bit, and then we'll talk about the leaf. I'm gonna do it on a separate here, just a little bit, and then you can see how, you know, it's done. Okay. It's actually very simple. Of course, everything is simple, right, Francis? If you know how to do it.
No, you know what? The more I paint, I think the more complex it becomes.
Oh no, I mean, you know, watercolor, it's really, to me, I always said to people, the drawing is the hardest of any painting. The actual painting part, you know, you can learn, but drawing, if you don't know how to draw, and it's very, very hard, you know, because you can, if you love animals and then you want to paint animal, but you can't draw, then your animal is going to look like some weird animal. I mean, you can pick it up really easily. But when you're doing plants and flowers, if the petal is a little off, you can still say that that's a rose, right? So that's why we you know, I believe in tracing, because that will help you draw as well. If you trace often enough, you know, you get your hand get better. It's just like using chopsticks, right? If you ask me to use my left hand to use chopstick, I can't do it because there's no connection there. That's why, you know, the Chinese way of teaching, we want kids to trace again and again and again until that connection is established. So that when they draw next time, they actually know how to draw it. Okay, for you, Francis, I'm gonna do the leaves here a little bit. It's a little one so that you can see from here, okay? So the leaf is huge. I mean, compared to, you're not gonna see tiny little leaves, you know, with a flower like that. You know, if you look at the drawing, the handout there, you can see the size of it, right? The flower is here, and then you see how big the flower and the leaf, and some of them even bigger. They're just like banana leaves.
Yeah.
And I used to have 2 plants already. A friend of mine, she has a bird of paradise, and every 2 years they will bursting in a pot. So then I have to go to her house and take a saw and saw the plant in half, and then she would let me take the half of the plant home. So I actually grow in my studio and my shop, and it just grew and grew until it's like humongous. Then we had to take it out and then cut in half of quarters and then give them away. But I got lazy. I just said to my brother one day, I said, "Do you want the plant?" He said, "Well, I don't, but I have friends who would take it." Then the next year I will go to Anne's house and chop half again and then started another plant. And they grow really well here indoor in Edmonton. So, okay, so the leaf, let's do a smaller version of it, okay? So usually they're just kind of like a big giant, like this, a big giant banana leaf kind of thing, like this. And with very nice heavy vein along the side. But to make it interesting, of course, you know, just do it on the sheet of paper here so you can see. So rather than just doing a boring one like this, you know, just part of the leaf here. Just do a boring one like that. So then you can actually go in, flip. See? And you might have a split, and that's the center. Make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah, so that it's more interesting. You got a little flip here and there, just make it pretty. And also with a little split here and there, that looks also nice too, rather than a perfect leaf like this. Okay, so in terms of the designs, you know, it's entirely up to you. So I'm gonna just do one with a flip so that we can actually work on it. So here's the flip. Well, it's not good. Let's do it one more time. Okay, here's the flip, and here's the break. There's a little break there, right? So to paint this, it's very simple. Two steps. First, you cover it with various shades of green, and of course, the middle vein, the mid vein, is quite nice and thick and solid, like to a point like this. Okay, just like that. Is that dark enough so you can see here? I'll draw it darker, like that, right? And then, of course, the easiest thing is if you don't want if you don't want to block off the middle, you can do that, and then you can do the whole leaf. But I will just do half. So water again, just like the petal, water. And then you just go in there and pick up a whole bunch of interesting green. You just put it on next to the mid vein, and then just put it in however you want. And as long as you have the highlights there, that's good enough. And then we're going to do the rest of the dividing afterwards. So yeah, see, like that. Ooh, with a little bit of highlight here and there. You know, they don't even have to be smooth or anything like that. You just put in the color that you want, like that. So go to the next section, same thing, wet. So you got greens, all kinds of green. Your sap green, you can mix it with yellow and blues, and then you just paint it, let it bleed into the water, right? And then make sure that you save the middle with a light white color, nothing there, like that. More water. So now you got all these lovely different greens and highlights. That's all you need. So this is a time where you can do two things. You can leave it like that, or you can use the pencil to draw the little ridges like that. I don't know what you call it, but you go paint, draw. When it's wet, you score it. Right? You know how to score, Francis.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just use a hard, anything hard when the paint is still wet. Just go and damn it. Oh, you see, I don't draw very well here. Like that. You separate them. So now you look like this. Okay? So then you let it dry, and then we're going to paint each one on one side, make it a little like darker lines here and there. So then you can see the little ruffle there. They're not completely flat sometimes. In between the two lines, they actually have a little bump, you know. So I can't do it, just give a few minutes. And of course, here's the time, Susan, if you want to play with it, this is the time you can sprinkle some salt just to see what happened, you know, and then we're gonna come back to this, okay? Gonna come back.
Okay.
Let it dry first. This is your homework. The homework is actually very fun to do. We're gonna do sunset. 2 different sunsets. Just small pieces. You don't need to make it big. The first one is the easiest one because all you have to do is just throw in a whole bunch of colors. Need to find the right brush for it. Okay, I got a little palette here. Let's see what colors in here. I don't know. This orange, yellowy. Ew. It's dirty. Anyway, I'll just use the other one. I use this messy one. Okay, you ready? Okay, so on a little sheet of paper, we're gonna put colors on it before we put any kind of trees or whatever that you want. So you can do just yellows and reds and pinks and whatever, purples and blues and whatever color. So I'm gonna show you that I'm gonna do is, since I have some blue up here, so I'm gonna take a little bit of blue and or purple. You just go on dry, back and forth like that. After you put some paint on, you use the water, and I can go in there and put purple. So top part is almost like a sunset late, so that you got these lovely purpley blue colors on the top. So like that, back and forth. Always after the paint, go dip into the water, and then you can smooth it out like this, right? So then I'm gonna go and say, okay, oh, here comes the red. Red, back and forth with water again, you know, and then some yellow, you know, some yellow right into the purple up here too, and just keep it nice and moist, and just go back and forth, nice and moist, paint and water, paint and water, repeating all the way down. And you can change color you want. I'm gonna try a little bit of pink here, you know, so when you mix it with the other color, you will turn into something else. So here comes the more yellow, maybe squeeze in a little bit of blue here, right? So then you got this really exotic color going here, a little bit of purple there, and a little orange, okay, like that. Just keep it moist so that they all joined up nicely when you go down like this. The paper might curl a little bit, but it's okay. Just let it be. And isn't that easy? So your sunsets can be anything you want, right? It's any color you want. If you say, oh, this is too light, I'm gonna go back in there, and because it's still damp, you know, you can still put in colors in there. And more yellow, orange, maybe a little bluey, purpley in the bottom, you know, or brownish, purpley, whatever color you want. So this is the first one, done. And then we're gonna wait for it to dry. And then we'll come back later on and adding trees and islands and whatever you like, okay? See, like this one here is a different, this is the same exercise. It's just trees in front and then the island in the back, trees on this side, and there's land there, there's some grass growing there. Some of them, you know, this is a different one, and it's a similar thing. You can put dark color in the back and put trees. So it's just like the possibilities endless. You know, there's just two different starts. So I'm going to show you both start, two of them, so that we know exactly how to get started on this one. So for example, this is the easy one. Just go back and forth, and then you cover the whole thing with multiple colors, right? Of course, there's a certain point you have to stop because they won't blend very well anymore. You know, it's getting dry. Okay, so next one. Okay, next one is more interesting because it has, the sun is setting and there's cloud in the sky. This one here, you don't really have any cloud in the sky. It's just a whole bunch of colors. You know, you don't see the clouds. So with this one, you start it the same way. Again, you can take a purpley, bluey color on the top, purple, back and forth, keep it nice and moist. Water, more blue. Yeah, more purpley blue, more purple, and yellow. Oh, here comes the sun. Yeah, yellow, and more colors, and more. Okay, maybe you squeeze in a little bit of blue here and there, purple here and there. It's good. And this one here, we're gonna stop at about 1/3 here, okay, 1/3. And then quickly take a deeper purple color, and then you go into the top when it's still a little damp. And of course, you're gonna put the clouds in there. See, big clouds here and there. And then another stroke here. Anything that is top is closer to you so that the clouds are bigger. So you put it much bigger like this. And this one should be a little darker. So I'm using purple, blue, and ultramarine and permanent rose mixed together. So then as you get closer to the horizon, it just gets smaller, thinner, see? And then further down, just nice and small little stroke, you know, on the semi-wet kind of surface. Then you put that in, okay? And of course, this part here is still damp. If you think, oh, this cloud is way too pale, then you can just put dark color on the lower part of the cloud. All right, so this is sunset with clouds in there. Don't be afraid to put strong color because it dries light. So, I mean, obviously my dark color here is not dark enough. I'm gonna put a little bit more purple there. Okay, see? So these are 2 starts that I want you to play with it, and it's the easiest thing. So do small, even half of this size, even good, you know, then you can use it for cards and things like that. Then we're gonna add to it. And of course, by adding to it, you have to let it dry before we put in all the silhouette kind of trees and things in it. Okay, isn't it easy? And before we go today, I will give a chance. I have a chance to finish these up for you a little bit so that you can see. Okay, now back to the leaf. I know that sounds like a lot of thing to do, but it's not. You know, when you have time, you have a whole week to play with it. So in terms of the leaf now, because it's dry now, and see how we started? You wet in the middle and drop paint everywhere, If you want salt, you can put a little salt. Now it's looking like that, it's dry, right? It's dried already. So now what we do is you take a darker green, meaning a sap green with black or blues or, you know, mixed together, and then you get the darker green. And then what you do is you can go from the top down or the inside up, it doesn't matter, right? So we'll do this one just from the top there. So you go paint, make sure it's nice and dark green. You can check when you go in. So you go paint and pull. You got your water brush ready. This is my water brush. And so make yourself comfortable. It's easy for you to pull. Which way? This way. Like that. Paint halfway down or 3/4 ways down. And then you take your wet brush, pointing to the inside, and then you smear it. See, my water brush is dirty. And then you smear like that, right? Sometimes you can put a little bit more paint and smear. So then you jump around and go, okay, let's do this one. Paint along the line and pull the inside part, and then you just melt into it, right? So the same thing with this one, paint and pull. So that will give you all this lovely dark color. And we only do one side first, and then we'll come back and you can do the other side as well sometime. Yeah, like that. Okay, this part here, this side here, dark. Ooh, make it nice and dark. Paint and pull. Now, so far we're coming from the outside in, but you can also do the inside out. So I mean, go from here inside, dark, paint, and pull, paint, and pull, paint, and pull. So Okay, so then you would just give the leaf a little bit more interesting finish to it. So paint and pull. Oh, maybe there's another one hiding back there. Paint and pull. Okay, so sometimes you can do two. If it's small, paint, paint, pull, pull. Make sense, Francis?
Yeah, it looks like it gives it more three-dimensional when you.
Oh
do
yeah,
it.
it
Yeah,
add a lot to it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
paint, just paint, and then you use a wet brush. If it's a longer one, you just do pull, pull, pull. You know, and then sometimes some area you need more, then you just go back and do it again. Paint and pull. And then here, paint, paint, and pull. See? So then your leaves have movement, you know, it gives you a little bit more interesting thing. So then to give you even more interesting result, when everything is dry, this is just a first coat of your green, right? The first coat. So if you can find some exotic color like northern light kind of a green, you can actually go and glaze it. See how the different? Yeah. So whatever exotic color green you have, you can later on glaze some of these colors. And I usually just do a lighter green, lighter green in the middle. You can do burnt sienna. You can do anything as long as it's slightly different than, see, burnt sienna, or add a little bit of yellow to it, give you the middle vein. And of course, some of the leaves are diseased, right? So let's say there's a burn mark at the end here. So I'm going to wet it. Just one more time, wet it a little bit. And then I'm going to take burnt sienna, even with a little black if you want to, but burnt sienna or red. And then when it's still damp, you just drop it in like this. It doesn't show much. I'm going to put some red instead. See? You know, when it's still wet, and then you just, when it's wet, then you can even glaze the red into it, and it will give you more interesting colors, right? I like those disease leaves. You know, you wet it first, then you take burnt sienna with red mix, so then you just go, it's almost like a rust color on it, like that. So there's a lot of things you can do to the leaves. I mean, you just, the step is basically first coat, mix, let it dry, and then you score it if you want. You know, some people don't like to score. You can actually just paint and pull to create those lines, right, Francis? You don't need to score it. So then you just have to make sure that you go in the right direction. You don't want to go in the, like a cross. You don't want to go this way, you know, like this. It doesn't, you know, you have to go in an angle like that.
Now, the one you did, Willie, and did you actually score it or you didn't? You painted?
Yeah, I did.
It looks like you did it. Okay.
Yeah. The problem with scoring, you see here, I score it a little off, then it's off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can't just do the painting part, like for example, just pretend that this one here doesn't have anything yet. And then you decided to put the lines here. So you paint, it's still wet. Paint, and then you pull. See, you can still get it like that, right? So you don't need to score it. You can just go ahead and say, okay, I want to have one right here, for example. You just paint and pull one side, and voila, you got more lines to it, right? See, paint, and then just go like that. So you can't even tell whether it's score or not score, you know, because it all look very similar. Okay. So that's the leaf. Just make sure you don't make it too small, you know, on your paintings. You want to make it quite big, so you can see only portion of the leaf. For example, here, if I have a flower that big, my leaves, if I start from here, there's a split here. Most likely you don't see the other end, but you can actually see the mid vein coming here. Then the rest of the score mark will be coming up from here like this, right? Going up this way, and it's huge. And then you can tell that the leaf started here, but then the mid vein here, and the rest of them are all the way out here like that. So then you can see that this leaf is indeed big, right? Okay, sounds good. So for example, on this side here, and go, okay, I don't want to put any more. So I'm gonna say, okay, what about there's a leaf that goes from here all the way up to like here. Maybe we have a split here, mid vein here. So then you can see you can't see the rest of these. Right? So now here's the actual vein. So now you can see this is just part of the leaf. Yeah, here's the mid vein, and this is the outside all the way up to here. And then the second half is up. Okay, so to make it easy, if you want to do leaf like that behind the flower, just put a masking tape on it. Of course, not Jack. Jack, if you're using you're using the wrong paper. See, with this one, then you can just easily. That's why it's so nice to be able to, even after it's painted, right? So then you put the cream color masking tape on it, and look at, you can see right through it. And then all you have to do is take a sharp X-Acto knife, cut around the leaf, and cut around. And then you take this off. Now this green part is protected, so that when I want to do my leaf here now, I can just go like this, and not to stop. You don't have to stop. See? And then when this is done, dry, we peel this off. Or if you want to do them all in once, then you've got your water in there. So you see, you don't have to worry about where how you put next to this little calyx here. So you can do all that color without having to worry about stopping carefully here. Okay, that's good. All good. So if you can do your sunset, do as many as you want if you want. It's really quite interesting because eventually we're going to turn out, and then I'll give you the variation next time. Okay. Any questions so far?
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Well, we're going to let this dry for a few more minutes, and then I'll show you how to do it. While in the meantime, you can continue to play with yours. Let me put my stuff away here.
I have a question, Willie.
Yep.
Is there a way that we can let you critique what we're doing or what we've done?
Yeah. You can either email it to me or on the messengers. Do you have messengers on Facebook?
Yes.
Yeah, you can do that easily, and it's just under Willie Wong, so you won't miss it. But if you want to send it to me via email, it's easy to remember my email. I'm gonna write it down here so you can see it. It's Willie Wong 59 at hotmail.com. Okay, let me see.
I would email. I don't use Facebook.
Okay, so it's Willie Wong, small cap, Willie Wong 59 at hotmail.com. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, send it to me there, then I can look at it and I can write comments, and all the other student has been doing that. So there we go. Put this away.
Willie,
Yeah.
Francis here. Let me show you my rooster.
Okay.
Because I really felt I made some errors in tonal value. That it was all too much the same. What do you think?
You mean the neck part?
Well, the background. Your background was
The background is fine. Yes, some area could be darker, so you can apply that from light to dark. I would definitely put closer to the rooster behind it, just a little bit, especially against the white neck, right?
Yeah, put
Just
more.
put more dark color. So if you just go on dry, you're gonna leave some marks there. So you have to wet some
Yeah,
larger area. You know how to do that.
Yeah, when I went, yeah.
Yeah, or if you
Okay.
put it on the dark color, you just smear it far and wide so that you don't create a hard edges. And I see that the bottom right of your grass is quite nice. Are you done with the left?
Well, yeah, I am because I gave up on the decorative painting.
Oh, but if you,
I thought enough of that.
yeah, but if you carry over when you have time, carry it over to the other side,
Yeah.
you know, it will be better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe I can cut that part off.
No, don't be lazy. Just paint the rest of it.
Okay, good.
But
Thank you.
and one other thing about the rooster's neck, you know, to make it look kind of rounded, right?
Yeah.
You need to have darker color on both sides here, lower part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, give it a little bit more paint and pull on both sides here. And this one
Okay.
here, I even cast a little bit of shadow underneath the wattle here.
Okay.
And you know, so they give it roundness, give it a little.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's a good idea. Okay.
All right.
That's good.
As you can see on this one here, if I don't continue, it just look boring and plain. If I were to just continue with these negatives slightly spread out and then maybe softer, maybe lesser cut at the corner, more cuts in the middle, and then you will come together nicely.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, Willie.
Yep. So we're gonna go back to the landscape here. Sunset. Oh, this cloud is getting bigger and bigger here. Okay, so okay, I hope that like they promised, in March, most everything is going to open. We have classes, in-person classes happening in Sherwood Park since January, and they have been postponing. So this is the second or third postponed now. So they said that we're going to start middle of March. We'll see.
So Willie, how does that work? We'd all be masked. Can
Yeah.
we, and do you walk around the room or do we approach you with our projects? Like, do
They
you?
approach, yeah, they approach me so that one at a time.
Okay.
Yeah. But once in a while, I would just walk around quickly, you know, it doesn't matter. Right.
Okay. You're comfortable then touching the painting and adding?
Oh
to it?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
good. I'm born in Borneo. I mean, nothing
Yeah.
can kill me. So. Okay, let's see here. Now let's start with this one, the easiest one. This one. So if you have paper towel, hopefully by now you're gonna go and steal some paper towel from somewhere. The hard one, you know, one of those one that make lots of noise. This is the one that from some public washroom, you know, how the one that you pull out individually. Those are hard enough, and they can actually make quite nice, you know, nice textures and stuff. So it's too big, so I'm gonna tear it in half, and then so I have smaller pieces to deal with. So you can either just quickly, you already know how to do that, crunch it out, and then you just roll it tight, and then just leave it like that. And the second piece, you can just go make it into a ball and open up it slightly, and then we can create some land, whatever you need to do. So like that. Okay, crunch, and then just two pieces, crunching and the twisting one. Okay, so we're gonna do this one first. And all you need to do is black color. Get your black. And some people would like to add a little blue to it or red to it, however you want to do, you'll make it darker. You know, every time using a black, if you add a little blue, it seems to get darker. So you just have to go and put down here the land. See, go crazy, just go throw it in there like this. With wet a little bit. So you got dry brush, you got all these neat little texture, whatever. And then you decide which one you want to use. So you can use the crunched up paper one if you want. And then just go, okay, it's still damp. Then you put it on here and then just give it. Now, some people don't like to push it this way. It's not even. So you can put another piece of paper on top and go lift. And then you get all these interesting texture on the rock. Okay, so next thing you do is take the same black brush, squeeze, move to the front, squeeze, and then create a, if it doesn't squeeze, you just add a little bit of water and then go pick up some more black. You want the eyelashes here, right? And then on top of the ground here, then you go to the left, to the right, some are longer, make it longer, and some shorter. And then you just go like that. If you run out of paint, just reload with a little bit of water. Yeah, otherwise you won't. But just important to keep the eyelashes like this, keep the brushes split like this. Okay, and then you can go like this, and then you can make all this beautiful grass. And it's all dark because it's sunset. Now you see, it's starting to give you a little bit of perspective there, right? So now you take your brush again and say, okay, I want the island in the back to be purpley gray, greeny gray, whatever you want. And all you have to do is to a straight line, about 1/3 up, just across horizontally, make sure that it's horizontal. And I'm gonna get some more gray. And then you go island here, and bigger island onto the side like this. Yeah. And then you might have a little island in front there. You can just go put a few dots here and there like that. You can actually put darker color on the bottom as well. See, variation. Yeah. And if you want texture, you can just take your piece of paper, and this one we're going to roll away from me from the left. Then you put it on top of that island and gently roll it down. See? So then it gives you all these unpredictable patterns back there. See how easy that is, right? So then if you say, oh, I like that, let's do more. So then if you say, oh yeah, maybe this corner, I'm gonna put a little bit of land here, join up with this one, more hill on this side, and maybe a little bit more colors and whatnot, and then you go, okay, let's see how that one works. So you roll your paper, again, if it's coming this way, the left-hand side, put it like that, horizontally, and then just go roll down gently. Then you can see how it creates all these unexpected patterns and whatnot on it, right? Then I'll take the black again, and maybe this one also have a few weeds growing, like that. So now you can go and vacation here. Now, of course, some people are really ambitious and they say, oh, can I have more island in the back? Sure. It's just that further back you put there, you might need to have a lighter color, but skinnier color. So I'm gonna, not passing the halfway point. You always want to keep it below the halfway point, right? Halfway point. So now what I'm gonna do is do a nice horizontal line right across. Of course, you have to get steady hand. You can use a ruler if you want. Go all across to here. And then, of course, now the island back here will be much smaller. See? There, see? Give you a far away look like that. So you let it dry. Then we can put in your favorite evergreen trees wherever you like it. And usually we just kind of put it about 1/3 again, so either there or here. So I'm going to do it slightly different. I'm going to put it right 1/3 from here. So I want it slightly taller than that. So dot to position the tree, or maybe do 2, maybe another small one over here. So using black, completely black, not super wet. You want it to have a really nice point in the middle to start the top there, the needle, the new growth. Then you just go, do your happy trees and just keep going and dotting. Just as long as you don't do dead fish, right? We don't want straight line like this to start the tree. We need to always dot, so that you don't see that hard line in the middle all the time. And we're not doing dead fish, so we don't do this. right? You want it to be tiny little tip on the top, and then you just keep adding little dot and stroke coming down this way, and it's go moving down, and you just get bigger and bigger and bigger. So this is where we're at now. So tiny little tip with a brush and needle. If you want to add some needle, little one, you can do that. So dot, 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 little stroke, you know, in the middle, to the left, to the right, little stroke here and there, tiny little ones, little stroke. And then go all the way down. I know sometimes I get impatient and then just make it big stroke. No, smaller one is good. Small, small, small. And then just keep adding until, you know, sometimes it's worked really well when the brush is getting to, you know, to a point where it's drying out. And that's even better because then it looks like there's dry brush effect going on here. And that's nice. Okay, repeat, top, needle, pointing out, up, up, upward, and then dot, go down to the bottom. Just keep dotting. And you can always go back to the original first tree to darken some area. Sometimes they dry light. So we want it to be nice and dark. Put a few lines here like this to show that there's other dead trees or branches, right? And I can say, oh yeah, there's a little one here. Just go paint it in. Little dot, little dot, little dot. A few more lines here if you want. And then you can see, oh yeah, I want to put one more tree on this side to balance. It's however you want. It's your little landscape, your little sunset, and just do it however you like. So just don't make it look like a perfect Sears Christmas tree in a perfect triangle. We don't want perfect triangle. Some branches sticking out further than the other one, you know, and then there's empty, missing branches. And then voila, right? You know, you can put as many trees as you want, or you can put branches, dead tree, sticks, whatever you want. See, there you go. This kind of painting takes just a few minutes. You can create a painting. So when you do your background, just do several of them. And then you can come back when it's dry and then just add this to it. The original color here is a lot darker, but if I put it like this, you can't even see against the light. But this is more like the real color when I lift it up like that. Okay, and if you truly want to put birds in there, I know some of you want to put birds. Just use a Sharpie, a small pen. Do I have it here? Yeah, so sometimes what I do is rather than using, rather than using a brush, then I use a nice little pen with it, like an ink pen. If you want to put birds in there, then it's a lot easier to just go like that. Just like a little V, right? You can't even see it. Not like this. I know that's you know, when I show kids in school to do birds, their birds looks like this, like I think they're just thinking of McDonald's signs, right? So we don't want to do a bird like that, yeah. And you don't necessarily want to do a V shape either. No, we don't want to do that. So what you do is you go down like this little bend and then up. So sometimes you can have one side bigger. And if it's a bigger picture, you can even see you can dot in the middle and the tail, you can see that's a bird like that, right? So if you don't want the detail like that far away, you can't really see it. So all you have to do is go like this, like that, right? And then sometimes people want to do the side view of a duck or something. So your beak, head, neck, body, and then just do like that. Yeah. Then you don't need to put the legs because they usually you don't see them. So I'll do a bigger one on this side so you can see. You just think of the profile of a bird, a duck, beak, big head, like flatter on the bottom, rounder on the top, a neck, and then out of the neck, your body to the tail. This is when you want it in the water. So in the water, it will be straight across like that. But if you want it flying, you just take your brush and push it down this way, see? And sometimes you can even put one on the other side to show that it's the other side of the wing. But usually we just do one. So beak, head, neck, body, and push. Okay? I'm sure you know all this already. You just want to hear me talk. So I love painting the sunset picture because they always turn out so pretty, you know. I guess it's where we want to be, along the river, along the sea, Vancouver Island. And of course, if you can do some crazy looking trees, that is even better. You know how the group of 7, they have all these lovely pine tree, that missing limb, and then they have, you know, a whole bunch of leaves somewhere or whatever. It looks good. All right.
No.
So let's see. See my son in Australia this morning at 5:30. Of course, it's almost nighttime there. Happy birthday, Dad. And then he said, I'm sorry. I know that your birthday is on the 23rd, right? And I said, it's okay. I said, you know, you're a few days late, but it's okay. Yeah, this year, my birthday is the quietest one.
Well, it'll be memorable because of that, right?
Yeah.
You won't forget it.
Because when I turned 60 2 years ago, it went on for 2 weeks in Edmonton, because everywhere I teach, I have all these classes I teach. So we will have birthday cake morning, you know, and then we have afternoon class, cake. And then at nighttime, we have night class, more cake. And then I'll go out of town to teach on Saturday, more cake. Yeah, well, it's okay. I mean, it's good to celebrate, you know, just to be alive, I guess.
Absolutely.
I mean, many people don't even have that chance, right? I'm just happy that I'm still standing and still walking, and yeah.
That's great.
So any question before we go? So what I need you to do is to do a couple of these. All right, do not a couple, but you can do as more. There's all kinds of variation, and then you already seen how to do this. And if you have problem, I will do it again. And then I will do the other second one is the variation of the lake one, the reflection. And I can even tell you what to do. When you put all your red in all the way down, the sunset down, you quickly take a black paint and dot across the horizon here, and then you put dark color on top and the reflection in the water. So you got double like that, right? All the way down. Yeah, so then this is the same idea, and then I just added trees to it. And then the last one that we'll do is either putting a road or the water, see, like this. So I'm gonna put these, group these together and take a picture and then send it to Ruth, and then you will get it, okay? And so we can do variation, but it's all similar. So this one here is the same, the one that I get you started here. See this one? You just do about halfway down or down to here. Then we can add the trees and road or whatever you want from here. And then, or you can put in the river with little bit of a, you know, water edge here with some shrub growing. All right. So I'll send it to you. And everybody has the picture of the bird of paradise, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's good. And then we're done today, right? Give you enough work, right, Michael? Do you need more work?
I have more than enough, thank you.
More than enough. Okay. And
Plenty of-
Darlene, how are you doing, darling? Is that good enough to keep you busy for a while there?
Very busy, especially when you put on more and more glazes. That's what, you
Oh,
look
yeah.
at it, then you come back to it the next
Yes.
day and the next day, and you put more and more.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it actually looked nicer when you glaze it several times. So
Yeah. Makes it lots of fun.
yeah, there you go.
And be able to remove the mistakes is nice too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. Okay. I see. You okay, Susan?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
So I'm gonna get out of here now. All right. So
Hey, thanks, Willie.
Okay,
okay.
happy belated birthday.
Yeah. Thank you.
Happy
Thank
birthday.
Bye,
Yeah.
Willie, see you tomorrow.
you.
Thank
See
you.
you. Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.